Herzlich willkommen bei Boost TV, neue Ausgabe mit einer absoluten Mega-Rock-Band aus den USA. Herzlich willkommen, Shinedown.
I just saw Haley's comet your way. Said, why you always running in place? Even the man in the moon disappeared. Somewhere in the stratosphere.
You know, we went in with the intentions on making a massive sounding record and doing something that we felt personally that the world needed, because music really didn't have it at the moment, an album like this. So we went in with Rob Cavallo, and took about 5 months to do the actual physical record. It was mixed by Chris Lord Alge and mastered by Ted Jensen. We used a lot of different material on the record. We used an orchestra on this album, a 21-piece, which we had never done before. There's a lot of piano on the record. There's a lot of synthesizers and a lot of different sound effects that we had never really tried before in the past. You know, it was about a lot of layers and a lot of production, to be quite honest with you. I mean, we wanted to make it pretty much sound unreal.
Tell my mother, tell my father, I've done the best I can to make them realize this is my life. I hope they understand.
Well, you just mentioned that Rob Cavallo produced the album. How did that came about? And I also read that you wrote something like 60 songs in the pre-production.
Yeah, I met him early on, so I had a breakfast meeting with him one morning, and he just told me that he wanted to do the album, and he said that he looked at me and said, "What do you want to do with this record? You know, as opposed to any other record that you've ever heard or any of the previous 2 records that you've done?" And I just said, "I just want to make it massive and make it, you know, be an album that the world said needed to be made." And there was just something in his eyes that I believe that he was like, "Let's go do it." And I think he saw the attitude of what we were trying to do, and it was something that he was ready to do.
And the result speaks for itself.
I would like
it's
to think so,
a fantastic
yeah.
rock album, absolutely.
Thank you very much.
I'm not angry, I'm just saying sometimes goodbye is a second chance. Here's my chance. This is my chance.
If you grabbed any one of our iPods or you know, music collections, it goes anywhere from Prince and Lady Gaga to Slipknot and everything in between. If it's good music and good songs, that's what you want. You want to listen to that, and all of those are going to influence who you are as a musician or artist, and those are artists as well, and you want to listen to your peers and learn something from them. You can pull from any of them. I mean, I grew up listening to a lot of funk and R&B and jazz, as well as you know, Iron Maiden and metal music, because it struck something inside of me. And I'm able to turn that around and put it into my playing and hopefully learn something to become a better musician. And as far as the evolution of the band, the longer you play with somebody, the more you understand what they're doing, but you just become a better musician. You know, 10 years ago, we were a different musician than we are now, and a different songwriter. And it's hopefully on the next record, it'll be, you know, 2-3 years since we did this record. So you constantly grow as a musician, and it makes for better, hopefully better music.
Do you think the lineup changes have any impact on the sound of a band as well?
They can, and they will. And I think it's going to make it better, because we went from, you know, what we were in the past to having surrounded ourselves with even better musicians. I think Eric is absolutely amazingly talented, and so is Zach behind you. Zach's been with us for about 4 or 5 years, but they bring something new to the table and a new attitude. And also, Brent and myself, being the original members, we still... we're a lot clearer now and a lot happier now than we were on those first 2 records. So it makes for a better recording process overall, and I think this next record is going to be even bigger and better than Sound of Madness.
Tell my mother, tell my father, I've done the best I can.
I was playing with other signed bands before I joined this band, but I joined this band in the middle of 2005, so it was great. I wanted to be in this band. There was no. I told Barry and Brent that you know, from day one that I wanted to be in this band, and I started out just filling in for someone else, and then I think I missed 2 weeks, and then I came back, and yeah, I mean, it was great. I mean, this is, you know, I'm in a band with my favorite musicians, like the only drummer I'd want to play with, the only singer I'd want to play with, the only bass player I'd want to play with. So I mean, when you can be in a band like that, there's never any. Number one, there's no boundaries, and number two, there's no disconnection from anything. You don't feel like you don't ever see something. I think we're one of those bands where we don't see other bands and go, man, it would be really cool to be in that band. I think we're all very happy to be in this band, and that's another thing with where the music kind of comes from. When you're all happy and in a band together, it makes it a lot easier working environment. To where 3 years ago in this band, none of us were happy, and then I was the new guy, and I wasn't happy either. Like, I was the new guy going, this is ridiculous. I don't want to be in this band. I can't believe I signed up for this. But, you know, now it's everybody's happy, and when everybody's on the same level, I think that's where, I mean, it's undeniable. You can't fool a crowd. I mean, if you can only do it for so long.
And I think also the fans can really see that you guys seem to have a lot of fun playing live.
Yeah.
I can only recommend, when somebody hasn't seen you guys live, to definitely make sure get a ticket for the next shows coming up. And if not, check out the website of the band. Some cool material over there.
I'm not angry, I'm just saying, sometimes goodbye is a second chance.
If you only knew, kind of a, well, I wouldn't say ballad, but a love song, strangely enough, hasn't happened in the past. How did that came about?
It came about because really, really early on, during the writing process, I got a phone call that told me that I was going to be a dad and I was going to be a father, and now I have a soon-to-be 2-year-old little boy. And, you know, it's just, you know, it didn't really hit me until, you know, the day that he was born, all of the things that, you know, he gave me, and he didn't even realize it. I mean, one day I'll tell him what he's done for me when he'll be able to understand. Right now, I'm just trying to focus on having a relationship with him. But yeah, it was just found out that I was going to be a dad, and that's where If You Only Knew came from. It was just about, you know, missing him and thanking, you know, his mother, you know, for giving birth to him, and, you know, just, you know, allowing this beautiful child to come into the world, because he's pretty incredible, you know. It's pretty wild to watch, you know, this tiny little man, you know, walk into a room and make it all better. If it's like tensions or what have you, you know, it's just he has nothing in his heart but just absolute love and joy, and smiles all the time and likes to make everyone happy, and doesn't even, I don't think, realize yet that he does that. But just an immense amount of love that I have for him, and that's just where the song came from.
You guys have traveled the world, and you've been to many, many places, not only on this tour. One trip that is a bit outstanding was a trip to Iraq. How did that came about, and what was it like?
There's a military organization called the USO, and they put together bands to go visit troops in all our countries where we have bases or stations. And they said, "Would you like to go?" And we said, "Absolutely." And in going over there, we played 4 shows. We played in Kuwait City, where we first landed, and then we did Al-Assad, Fallujah, and Takadam inside Iraq. And at that time, that was when Fallujah was a hotbed. It was really quite dangerous, actually, looking back on it. But we didn't feel in fear at all, because we had our troops around us. And really, to do that, regardless of your political leanings or anything else, your troops are there doing a job, and you have to support them no matter what. And it was probably one of the most amazing experiences of our lives, of my life. It gives you a real sense of pride to see those men and women working the way they do, and makes you feel, in some ways, very guilty, because we're just a rock band playing rock music, and they're out there with, you know, you see this cute little 5-foot-tall girl with a sniper rifle on her back getting ready to go out on the lines. It's like, wow, that's intense.
Sometimes goodbye is a second chance.
Thank you guys very much
Thank
for
you.
joining.
Appreciate
and we wish you lots of fun and lots of success.
Thank you very much.
And it was a real pleasure having you.
It was our pleasure. Thank you for letting us come in.
Give me